I'm not quite sure how to answer that because I'm going. I remember all my clients because I'm going. I work with them.
And if you could change one thing about how entrepreneurs are taught business, what would it be? You make it clear there's no magic bullet in business.
No.
Why do you think so many people are still looking for one? And what's the risk in that mindset? Okay, good morning, folks. Today on the show, we have a powerhouse in the world of small business, Tammy Johnston, known as the Hold Your Hand and Kick Your Ass business coach. Tammy has been working with entrepreneurs since 2002, helping them build sustainable, ethical, and profitable business. She's not about the fluff or magic bullets. Tammy brings real battle-tested, foundational business training that gets results. If you are tired of cookie-cutter advice and ready to hear what it really takes to survive and then thrive in, this episode is for you. So let's welcome Tammy Johnston. Tammy, welcome to Echelon Talks.
Thank you for having me, Ash.
And Tammy, we have known you as a business owner and entrepreneur. And the most question that I have asked from almost all the entrepreneurs is that, so which is the stepstone and when you have started the business and what is the maturity for the business and what is the point you have turned yourself into entrepreneurship that, okay, as a Tammy, I have to do the business and I have to help the people. And what is that point and the edge of your life?
It's a different point for everybody. Some people, especially nowadays, start like basically as soon as they're out of school, it's the calling and they get into it right away. Some people are forced into it because they've been laid off or fired or something like that. I work with a lot of people that have retired from their first careers and they're going, okay, I've got the nice pension and all that stability and security, and now I want to branch out and start my own business. So there isn't any one particular point. It's different for everybody.
And you've been supporting small businesses since 2002. And how have you seen the landscape change over the years?
The one thing that has changed is the explosion of the internet and especially social media. When I started my business, social media didn't exist. I think MySpace started like shortly after, and then it became Facebook, and now it's absolutely everything. So that's pretty much the only real major change. Like business is always changing and evolving, which is one of the many reasons why I love it. But the only major fundamental change I would say, and I wouldn't even say it's fundamental because marketing is marketing. It's just different ways of doing it. If you asked this question like 100 years ago, TV didn't exist. And magazines were a rare thing, and you had your newspapers, but then TV came and radio came, and that started changing things. So I wouldn't even say it's a fundamental change. It's more just a method.
Wow. And Tammy, I have to ask you this. You call yourself, right, the Hold Your Hand and Kick Your Ass business coach. What inspired the title and how does it reflect your coaching style?
Actually, my clients are the ones that name me that. But it's very, very apt. And the reason why they call me the Hold Your Hand, because they said, you love us and you support us, but you won't let us get away with any bullshit. Like, you won't let us lie to ourselves. Like, I don't even have to raise my hand, but if they meet with me and they say they're going to do something and they don't, they know that they typically just get asked a couple of questions and go,
wow.
But if you're just looking for somebody that's going to blow sunshine up your butt, you're never going to accomplish something. You need somebody who's going to truly love and support you, but it also comes with like the discipline and the good swift kick in the butt when you need it, because we all need it.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's been attractive for a lot of people, to be honest with you. And uh, in mainstream media and some especially big brands like McDonald's and KFC, if you see in the background scene of what is the logo behind it, there is something funny stuffs are there. So in that way,
Hmm.
it's attracting a lot of people, to be honest with you. And I have to ask you one more thing, that you focus a lot on business fundamentals. And what would you
Yes.
say that which are like three foundational pillars every entrepreneur must master on?
I only get three because I typically work on the eight.
Hmm. What are those
Because
eight?
and I will say, because there are eight foundational pieces, not just three. Because if I give you three, I'll give you the three that everybody says. You need to know your numbers, you need to know financials, absolutely 100%, and you need to be marketing, and you need to be systematizing. Those are the three that pretty much everybody talks about. But if you don't have your mindset put together, like, how are you doing your habits? Like, are you thinking as a business owner rather than as an employee? Because they are very, very different. Do you know what your values, mission, and purpose are? Because there's an awful lot, especially we see in corporations. They say they have them, but they don't, and then they get themselves into an awful lot of problems because they're just doing what's easy, expedient, and short-term profitable. Um, how are they structuring your time, like the discipline that goes along with it? Advisory team, because no matter how brilliant and how hardworking you are, you cannot do it on your own. You cannot know everything on your own. And in the beginning especially, most people are getting their business advice from their broke ass friends and family who have never set foot in the arena, and then they're wondering why it's not going very well.
Hmm.
And
And
then you need to know and
yeah.
have both cash flow and profit, because
Hmm.
my background is actually financial services, and I get called in by a lot of accountants going, okay, my client is payroll on Friday and it's Tuesday and they have no money in the account, can you please go smack them around a little bit? And I find that they have lots of cash flow, but they have no idea what profit is because they have no idea what their numbers are, or they don't have any. They're doing something that's extremely profitable, but they don't have the cash flow and how it all works together. And any of those pieces you're missing, your foundation is less stable. And the more the pieces you miss, the more likely it is that things are going to come crumbling down. So if you're
Yeah.
only focusing on three, you've got a three-walled house and you're wondering why it's drafty and wet.
Hmm. So, in a point of view of finance, so everyone have their own dreams and they want to do what they love. And how to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that it's profitable?
Okay, that is a very good question, and it's a huge question. The first thing I always do is figuring out what does it actually cost you to run your business, because that's one of the biggest things that I find. Because people are, okay, well, what are the three things I need to do to price this out? And they're going, okay, so I priced it out and I put in a bit of a profit margin. How come I have no money at the end of the day? Well, because you forgot about this insurance, and you forgot about the office expenses and all of these, the advertising and all these other things, and you're not making any money. So
Hmm.
that's a large part of it. Or a common one is a race to the bottom. They're going, you know what? I just have to be the cheapest one there, and I will get all the business. Well, if you're the cheapest one there, you might get a bit of the business, but you're probably not going to get good business. And if you're not making enough money to stay in business, you're not. And people that are smart and know things and are looking for it, they're not going to do business with you because you're the cheapest thing in the book. Because they know if you're cheap, you're probably not going to survive. And if I need you 3 years down the road to look after me or service this and you're not in the game, I've lost all of that. And
Wow.
they know that they're going to be like, you don't know what you're doing. So good customers will avoid you.
True.
And there's a lot of people that won't do business with you, even if you're dealing on a small consumer business. There's a lot of people who will not do business with you until you've been in business for at least 3 years. because they want to know, are you serious about this? Are you going to be here in the long term, or is this just the flavor of the month for you?
And Tammy, I have seen a lot of people, right? They have distracted a lot by directions by trend and influences or comparison traps and all. So how you keep your clients on the ground in full focus on the business or a point?
That's where a lot of the hand holding and butt kicking comes in. Because people need the ongoing support and accountability, where there's always been the latest trends, and if you do these exact 5 steps, you're going to be successful beyond your wildest dreams and all that. That is never ever going away. That is just noise. But having somebody that can hold your hand and keep you on the path and kick your butt when needed is how you actually survive. Like talking about marketing, there's 29 different ways you can market your business. You can't do all of them. If you try to do all of them, you're going to be unsuccessful, you're going to suck at it, you're going to hate it, and you're going to burn out. Your job is to find the 2 or 3 things that are appropriate for your business, that are appropriate for your budget, that are appropriate for your time, energy, and personality, and do them consistently. And be in it for the long term, because there's so many people that they'll put a huge amount of time, effort, and money into something once. I did this great big huge TV ad. How come I don't have all this business? Because most people, even if they were watching it, didn't even see it.
Yeah.
But if you're slowly and consistently showing up, being in a space over and over and over again, then people start to see you. Plus, it also builds up faith, because they're going, I keep seeing them. Maybe they are serious about this. Maybe I should take a risk and trust using them.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, Tammy, that consistency is the key element, as I see from your conversation from here. And I want to ask one more thing that you have mentioned before. You make it clear there's no magic bullet in business.
Nope.
Why do you think so many people are still looking for one? And what's the risk in that mindset? Well,
we've always looked for the magic bullet because it sounds lovely. You do this one thing and everything's mad. It's the lottery mindset. Yes, some people win the lottery. 85% of them are bankrupt in 2 years because they didn't actually have any financial skills and they just got lucky. But we like it because it's sexy and it's so easy and we're working so hard, and why can't I just rub the genie and all my wishes come true? Reality isn't like that. That's why the diet is, you take this pill, and right now it's Ozempic, and everything will get better for you. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to work out. You don't have to do anything. It will just be done for you. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work in the health industry. It doesn't work for financials. It doesn't work for business. It doesn't work for relationships. We have to put in the regular, everyday, boring, hard work. And if you're doing what you like doing and you're following your mission, it isn't all that hard. I work really hard, but I don't really work that much because I love what I do. But it's not like all the stuff that I have to do in the background. And one of the things with social media, where we see all these people that are overnight successes. Well, most of your overnight successes took 10 to 15 years, but they're only showing the highlight reel. They're not showing all the slogging hard work that it takes. And that's one of the tricks, because if people don't realize and don't know that, I'm signing up for years of putting in the work consistently without seeing instant results, a lot of people won't do it. So the ones that are willing to do it get the results, and then it seems magical.
Yeah. And Tammy, I have to ask one more question regarding this, that a lot of entrepreneurs are there. They are not bold enough to come into social media and showing off their products or moves in their businesses, and they're afraid of being seen. So how do you help those kind of entrepreneurs?
I work with a lot of introverts And believe it or not, I'm a massive introvert. And people go, "How can you be an introvert?" Because I do speaking and teaching and TV and podcasts and stuff all the time. And going,
Absolutely.
it's not what I can do. It's how I recharge. And there's so many, like you said, they don't want to be seen, things like that. So we'll get back to, like you said, there's 29 different ways that you can market a business. Your job is to find the two or three things that work for you and do them consistently. There's people that are major social media stars. All the power to them. You don't have to be a social media star. There's different ways you can do it. Even different ways you can do it on social media. Some people love being in front of the camera and doing things like that, where you can be doing things with your business on social media where you don't have to be in front of the camera all the time, but you do have to be consistent in showing up.
Yeah. And Tammy, can you walk us through a real life example of a client who went from struggling to thriving with your guidance?
You only want one?
Yeah. if time allowed, we can go ahead.
Well, I work. I'll pick. I love working with tradespeople. I've got a lot of tradespeople in my world, and how a lot of them go is they've been laid off for like the umpteenth time, and they're going, you know what? I'm tired of the hire fires, because it has nothing to do with what they're doing. It's all controlled by somebody else. So you go, you know what? I want to get off that cycle, so let's start working on things on my own. But they're technicians. They know how to be a plumber, or they know how to be an electrician or a drywaller or whatever it is. And they don't know anything whatsoever about the business side of it. So I teach them, like I said, how do you set up your marketing, which is especially important for tradespeople because they deal with a lot of feast famine cycles. Okay, it's busy season, so they're on the tools. They're working like 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day. And they're going, I don't have time to do anything else because I'm just on the tools. And they're going, business is booming until they finish up all their jobs. And then as soon as their jobs are all finished, they're going, oh crap, I need some new jobs. Now I have to market. So we teach them how to set up their system so that they can be marketing consistently and be working on evening out the feast famine cycle and that. And then how do you balance that with raising a family as well and actually profitable, and then they don't have to worry about going back and finding another job. Those, I do a ton of those and I love them.
Wow. And when it's come to the business and life coaching and this kind of stuff, so you've seen more towards and leaning towards the marketing and the sales part, because that's the main portion where the money come inflow to the business of any kind
Well,
of
it
business.
depends on the business person, because I do work with a lot of people that marketing is not a problem for them. They, as the old saying goes, they could sell ice to the Eskimos. Where they have the problems is they don't understand systems or advisory team or financials or how to structure their day or anything like that. Just let me go out and sell. And then their problem is, okay, now I actually have to deliver on what I sold, and that's not as fun. So it depends on who I'm working with. But yes, marketing, if you no sales, no business.
Yeah, true.
But if all you've got is sales, you don't have a business either.
Yes, true. And we have to lean in with the marketing trend also, because some businesses there, it was survived in a COVID period, but right now it's not booming yet, as there are a lot of examples. It's depend on the cycle also, I guess, but marketing, as you mentioned, it's a main part, and sales is a main part of a business. Without sales, where there's no business anyway. And
No sales, no business.
yeah. And Tammy, I have to ask some a fast question from you. One book every entrepreneur must read.
On an entrepreneurial scale, I would say The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. That, as far as I'm concerned, is the business Bible. And I recommend it to everyone because it really gives you an understanding, the foundational pieces of business.
Wow. Worst business advice you ever heard?
Oh, there's so much. I have to pick one. Anybody who's trying to push any type of magic bullet, like I said, there's so many of them, but the magic bullet salesmen are the ones that, I don't know, they just, they don't understand systems or advisory team or financials or how to structure their day or anything like that. Just let me go out and sell. And then as soon as their jobs are all finished, they're going, okay, now I have to market. So it depends on who I'm working with. But there's so many of them. piss me off the most. And the current magic bullet is have AI do everything for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's ripping you off. And then I feel for any of your gullible customers that made the mistake of doing anything with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Because AI is a useful tool, it is not a replacement. And if
True.
you're trying, yeah, just do everything with the AI, you're an asshole. Sorry, you're an asshole.
True, because I have seen a lot of newses these days, like some big corporates, they have lay off a lot of employees because of AI and replacing the employees. I have no idea in which area they are doing and implementing it, but I think most of the sales side or maybe a customer care sides, because in big corporates, when it's come to WhatsApp or e-messages or email, we don't get a reply from a human. It's automated and it's coming from some kind of bots. Sometimes it's messed up and we don't find the answer what we
Yep.
needed sometimes.
Sometimes,
Most of the time, yeah.
most of the time,
True.
most of the time, because yes, I've been sucked in and they have the chat and it's like, can I just talk to a person because your bot is an idiot? And
Yeah.
I'm to the point of wanting to cancel everything I have with you just because of your crappy AI bot.
Yeah, absolutely. And they still keep advancing and there are a lot of researches are happening, but it's not in a pure form of like a human. It's we I personally feel humans cannot be replaced by AI in any moment. Humans are humans, AIs
And
are
one of the
AI.
beautiful things about it that I find though is because this is one of the things where small businesses have a massive advantage because so many of the corporations, like you said, are doing massive layoffs. We're going to replace everybody with AI so that we can make even more billions and we'll just have all the money and then we'll wonder why nobody can buy anything because we have all the money. But we're not going to get into that. But
Absolutely.
small businesses, we are people. We are people and we're dealing with people, and that we can build that connection because that's what people are looking for, not just a product or service. If what you're doing is a commodity, why are you doing it? Anybody can do a commodity. But if you actually care about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're doing it properly, that can never, ever, ever be replaced by AI. Are you going
Yes.
to become a multi-billion-dollar company? Probably not. Most aren't. And looking at how they're behaving around the world, would you really want to?
Yeah, I 100% agree with this argument because this is where the small businesses find their niche and the right track and the market. When corporates all adapting to this AI and finally the customers and the consumers don't find the right solution for them and through the e-marketing and all. So small business coming into pace and they start to earn money and the turnover like 100, 300, 500% compared to the big corporates. And this is actually happening right now. And Tammy, first thing you do in the morning.
After getting up and going to the bathroom?
Okay. And
well, dear, if you want to get into detail, the very first thing I do when I get up in the morning as a middle-aged menopausal woman is I go to the bathroom. But if you're talking about like starting my work day, to be very honest, to put myself in a good positive mood, I read the comics.
Wow.
I have my comics online, and I do that to put myself in a good mood. And then I typically start my day after that is I watch a TED Talk every day, like 7 days a week on different things because I love learning from them, getting different ideas and different things like that on like everything, and knowing, like you said, what is going on in the world and how is it affecting things. And I love seeing how people in all around the world, different walks of life, different industries, are doing things to improve the world. And that really helps me out because if I pay any attention to the news and I hear about all the horrible things being done around the world, especially south of my border, that just makes me want to curl up in a ball and scream because I can't commit murder. So do the positive stuff to keep myself sane and moving forward.
Mainstream media fucked up. I'm sorry to use this word, listeners. Anyway, it's
No.
happening right now. CNBC, Fox News. Oh, crazy. They are
Oh,
fighting each other. Someone posts something there, and this side they are replying for that post. And it's keep going on. Then the CNN jump in, the BBC jumps in. It's keep going. I have no
yeah.
idea.
Even if you're not talking about the mainstream media, just the stuff that's going on in Africa and Ukraine
Yeah.
and Gaza and the ice raids, and I'm just going, oh dear God. So yes, I stay aware, but I can't get sucked into that. I'm going, okay,
Yeah.
the world is always going through horrible things. We are going through horrible things. Our job is what can we do to make things better?
Yeah.
And doing business honestly, ethically, and morally, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the number one things that we can do to better things.
Yeah, actually, the psychology behind the mainstream media is that if there is a negative statement or a news, so a lot of people are attracted to that, need to see what's happening out there. If it's a positive or some developing stories, no one is there to watch it. So it's a psychology, human psychology. Based on that, these mainstream medias are running for decades right now. But it's actually harmful for human mind because we always have to think about ourselves, our family, and actually the country, the economy is growing from a root of a family. So if families suffer from an inflation or price higher, or if there's no revenues, so it impact the economy in some ways. So collective of families is
it's
a
all
society.
interconnected.
Yeah, collective of the societies are becoming a state. A number of states become a country. So its final point is a family and individuals' earnings. So people are focusing on mass media and a bigger picture, but actually what's happening inside their household and their personal budgets are insane.
Mhm.
Yeah, and tell me, what makes a client unforgettable to you?
What makes a client unforgettable?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that because I'm going. I remember all my clients because like I'm going. I work with them so intimately over a long stretch of time, and they all have such wonderful things about them. But if I have to try and answer it, the ones that are willing to really put in the work, those are the
Hmm.
ones that really stand out because there's always work involved. And yes, like we all
Yeah.
have better days than others, but the ones that are willing to learn and put in the work and the effort, those are the ones that have the biggest success.
Wow. And tell me, looking ahead, what do you think small businesses need to prepare for in the next 3 to 5 years? Because right now the AIs are there because it's tackling right now. And how you seeing in a bigger picture?
There's a few things. So number one, like I said, AI is like the internet. It's not going to go away. Learning to use it properly as a tool is going to be a must because you can't do everything on your own. It's like, okay, back in the 1500s, before the invention of the printing press, like books were written by hand by monks and stuff. And then we had the printing press, and now we have the then we had the typewriter. Now we have the like word processors and voice to text and all of this stuff. If you don't learn how to properly use it, you are going to massively fall behind. The good thing that I see is corporations are going to start majorly falling because they're a parasite that have gotten so massive that they're starting to kill their host.
True.
So it's a wonderful opportunity for small business owners that are doing things on an honest, ethical, and moral basis to step in and fill the gaps. Like there's so many well-warranted boycotts of major companies because of how they are behaving. Like one of the things, Target is being destroyed in the States because of how they have behaved. Like they are getting their asses handed to them. And people are going, okay, we're not going to deal with Target. Amazon isn't getting as much business and stuff like that. So small businesses that learn how to market, because if nobody knows you exist, it's not going to help you or them, but learn how to market and stick with their values, are going to be picking up more and more customers, because people still have to get things. People still want to get things. And they have the ability to fill that gap.
Yeah. And if you could change one thing about how entrepreneurs are taught business, what would it be?
Number one, I would teach them business, because they're not. And I would say, like, we go back more than 100 years ago, everybody was self-employed basically in one way or another. And then after that, we were raised, go to school, work hard, get a good job at a company, and stay there until you retire. That hasn't existed in my lifetime. We need to go back to, like, small businesses account for like 79% of jobs in North America. And that's like companies, 20 employees and other. It's the small companies that are growing. And if we want that to do well, we need to start teaching entrepreneurships. And I would say start teaching it in school. Like, I've been teaching since 2002 to small business people. And I've had people with business degrees come to my class and say, I learned more in a weekend that was practical, useful, and actionable with you than I got in a 4-year degree. Not that there was anything wrong with their degree or that they didn't learn good things, but it's a lot of theory and high-end stuff where it's like, no, how do I actually do things? How do I structure my day? How do I market? Not just, here's what can be done. Here's how you can do it. We need to get a lot more practical, and we need to teach entrepreneurship as a very viable option.
True. And Tammy, we are near to exit, and we have discussed a lot about entrepreneurship and your business, and how the entrepreneurs are shaping in the society right now, and the news broadcast corporations, and how the mass media impact on our lives, and how the revenue can be generated, and marketing side, especially AI and the current technologies. And a lot of things we have discussed, and it's a fruitful session and very informative. And Tammy, at last, I would like to ask, there are a lot of listeners who are listening to this podcast, are entrepreneurs and youngsters who are trying to come into entrepreneurship, and they are in a innovational and some studying case studies stages. So what is your advice for our listeners from your side as an entrepreneur and coach?
Have you ever watched the movie Ratatouille?
Yeah.
So one of the lines that they talk about is anyone can be a chef. But they, at the end, they clarify, yes, anyone, but not everyone. But if you're willing to put in the work and you have the proclivities for it, you can do it. I would say anyone can be an entrepreneur. It's not for everybody. Like, I've had a few people over the years come through my class and go, okay, after I've figured all of the stuff out that I need to do, I know it's not for me. And I'm going, great, wonderful. I am so glad you learned this out before you put in years and your life savings and everything into it. But anybody can be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to love doing sales. You don't have to do anything right off the beginning. But if you're willing to learn consistently, constantly, like, I've been in the business world professionally for over 32 years now. I'm still learning, and I plan on keeping learning. But if you, like I said, you're willing to learn and you're willing to put in the work, you can be an entrepreneur.